Es la que hay.
¿Qué es lo que hay?
¿Estás jugando Fortnite OG?
OG, ¿no?
Sí, eso es lo que está puesto.
Ah, para atrás. Es que me metí a un grupo ahí sin querer y cuando lo abandoné yo creo que estaba...
Pero me abandonaste, güey. Ahora. Si entras a la tienda de Epic, te regalan un camo para las pistolas.
¿Qué?
Que si entras a la tienda de Epic, te regalan un camo para las pistolas. Muy fácil, fácil, fácil.
Did someone call it off?
Está por ahí, está por ahí. Sí, todavía no lo veo, todavía no lo veo. Sí, ya viene por ahí, sí, ya viene por ahí. Ahí, ahí. Tanta roncar en la pared. Retírate, retírate. Estaba viendo que estaban variando un par de gente por estas pistolas. O sea, que
¿Que
puedo
las
hacer esto.
estaban qué?
O sea, puedo hacer esto. Pues había un glitch que los hacía volar, haciendo esto. Y estaban por allá, por la atmósfera.
Y los banearon.
Sí. Por abuso de glitch. Yo me imagino que eso sí lo reportan.
Let me get you patched up.
Quack.
¡Qué de paso! Escucho tiros.
Sí, para la ciudad. Ya viste eso.
Now, where were
Estoy escondida. Sí, hay uno aquí. Viaje. Me mataron con los puños. Tienen la granadita también.
Thank you. Hay otro ahí.
Quack.
Exactamente cuánto. Ay, Carlos, cabrón. Cojones, rompe la puta ventana.
Vete. La tormenta. Acuérdate que puedes abrir el glider cuando uses la bombita.
Abre. Bien. Ahora vienen por ahí.
¿Qué dices?
Por aquí existe.
La sniper la quitaron, ¿verdad?
No la he visto.
Yo no sé. ¿Ya?
Escucho los tiros sueltos. Aquí.
A ver, vi uno por aquí. No tengo pistola para ver.
Yo tengo balas.
Volando.
Aquí hay dos, aquí hay dos. Se cayó
¿Dónde?
uno, cayó uno. Abajo,
Ah,
abajo. Se cayó el de arriba, se cayó el de arriba. Queda este, queda este. Está blanco, se cayó también, se cayó también. María, María.
voy para allá a cogerlo.
Tengo puntería.
Ay, hay alguien más aquí.
Bueno, tengo lo hice, tengo lo hice.
Ah, no, yo hoy no sirvo para nada. Ah.
No quiero abrir el trailer.
Embuste.
No, eso fue lo que me pasó la otra vez. Entonces le vi y se puso a bailar. No sé por qué.
Y ahí tampoco te abren.
Ahí que me van a matar.
Where does it hurt?
Así es el que queda.
Se cura. Destruyó el embuste el mismo. Gracias por la victoria, ya que no mata a nadie.
Viene. No me había fijado que era el último.
¿Qué?
Que no me había fijado que era el último hasta ahorita. Hasta que me estaba curando ahorita. Gracias a mi público. Con razón se movió, pasó una nave. Hay una nave que se movió a la guagua, que pasó la nave de Watch por ahí.
No lo habían visto.
No. Ahorita vi que se movió, pero no vi. La ruta de la victoria. Voy a grabar ese video de esa victoria y pongo cargando a Chuck.
No, güey.
Embuste.
Qué basurita. Tienes que entender que no he tomado café.
Muy mal. Ya son las 12 del mediodía.
Sí, sí.
Usted se levanta, se da una boca y toma café.
¡Muérete! ¡Caramba! Me voy a tumbar
Aquí está el trato.
Voy. ¿Dónde?
No más porquería, no me llena la vida. Yo,
Toma, yo tengo de estos cervezas. ¡Ay! Yo iba a coger uno y ¿quién cogió?
¿Te dieron la sombrilla?
¿De qué?
Por las victorias de 150 y 500 victorias.
¿Qué sé yo?
Se supone que tengas dos. Porque la otra es Ham, y no me llevo.
Te acerca el bounty.
Voy. Ah, ya lo vi.
Yo tampoco. ¿Dónde?
Conmigo cerca. Tiene que estar por aquí. Ah, y otra atrás. Lucio.
El escudo.
Haciéndome ropa en un tiro.
No lo veo.
Tiene que ser el que revivió. Ese es el único que hay ahí.
Está aquí.
Hay otro disparado. A la derecha también.
¡Ay! Al lado también.
Ya, cálmate.
Cayó alguien ahí, cuidado. Estoy abajo. Alguien me disparó.
Ya me dio duro. ¡Ah, qué buste! Me tumbó.
Estoy muerta. Ay, ¿por qué no abierto la ítem? Tírate.
Estoy mareado.
¿Qué?
Estoy mareado, tanta vuelta que di.
Yache, ¿cuántos hay?
Hay un montón ahí. Mierda.
Se juntaron todo el mundo. What does she look like?
¿Dónde vamos? ¿Dónde vamos?
¿Qué pasó?
Las pistolas que hay para comprar, las que me encuentro por ahí.
Basura.
Están tirando.
Parece.
Mira aquí. Los va a caer.
Basura.
Va a caer.
¿De qué símbolo de oro se ve diferente?
Como que el símbolo
No
de
me
oro.
Donde tú coges el oro,
Ah,
se ve como violeta, azul, que sí. Esto no era dorado.
se supone.
Hay alguien por aquí. Un de uno. Un de dos. Pizza.
¿Dónde está?
La paradigma. Estado. Se sacrificó a la fusión C.
De todo el presente. Ahora, esta es tu lucha.
Lamento que hayamos dudado de ti. Tu sacrificio significó.
Ya lo vi, ya lo vi. Uno aquí, y otro acá, y otro acá.
Voy.
Cayó uno, cayó uno.
Ay. Yo lo iba a curar. Yo decía, ¿por qué no dispara? Me estaba dando vida, güey.
No me gusta.
Ay, se me olvida que esta no apunta. Qué basura.
La primera vez que yo la cogí me morí por eso. Disparé y dio como aquí, como en el borde.
Ah,
Y
ah,
me morí.
no me mataron.
Carrito,
¿Qué?
carro. Está yendo atrás mío.
Hay otro.
Cayó. Basura.
Está tum por ahí. Tum, Sahul. Carro.
Ay, ya la pistola mía y está ahí, buscó la de eso yo creo.
在消费。
Ya, había otro atrás. Hay dos.
Wow.
Eh,
Cabrón. No te muevas. ¿Me vieron?
sí. Y ahí va para donde ti el cabrón.
No tienen más nada que hacer, jodido basura. Ahí viene, no te creo.
Ahí está.
¡Ah,
chico,
me mató!
Ay,
Huye.
me dispara. ¿Cómo es que estoy aquí?
Vienen por ahí. Lo intenté, güey.
No, me puedo trepar.
No respire, porque ellos saben dónde estás sin verte. Ahora cogen un bounty y te marcan.
Sí, porque eso está la leche más cabrona.
Al lado de la guagua había un carro. El parque.
Y es que yo creo que uno se fue en el carro y otro está ahí.
No, yo creo que cogieron el carro. Sí, se lo llevaron. Vienen por ahí, no te creo.
Yo sabía que nos iban ahí. Unos mamabichos. Yo sabía que nos iban ahí.
¿Qué?
Que yo sabía que nos iban ahí. Basura. No sé si es familia de Dios. Basura.
Aquí hay guaguas.
Creo que sí. Sí.
Revive y muere, revive y muere.
Ahí estamos turneando.
Morí por ti, ahora tú mueres por mí.
Romeo y Julieta. Como parezcan por aquí, pues mira que los revueltos. Está bien.
No, coño, si llegan aquí. Coge cosas antes de que lleguen, porque me huele que van a venir. Se me olvida que este es el lugar de las escopetas.
Aquí y el de... Hasta la madera. ¿Qué? ¿Quién te dispara?
No, a mí no.
Ah, hay que irnos como quiera.
Pero probablemente son ellos.
Vámonos.
Voy. ¿Cómo se mueven tan rápido?
La pistola a lo mejor. Venga, es que explotar las gomas a las millas.
Hmm. Wow. Carro.
Ay, yo me quedé por otro lado.
Ya.
Claro, me encontré 4 de frente. Deja que esos 4 se maten ahí. Mierda. 2 detrás de una piedra y 2 arriba. Esos 2 arriba y
Sí.
los otros 2 están en la piedra.
Codigo blostar on L18 de Fortnite. Saludos.
¡Ah!
Someone call a doctor?
viene. Llévate un coche. Andamos. Dale, vale.
¿Ven?
Hola, no olviden subscribers o canal y de jar to like.
¡Ay, mamá huevo!
Me lo mato a mí también.
Codigo blostar on apoya increíble.
Hacho, es que encontré una escopeta, yo no tengo encontré ¡Ah! Basura.
Oh, espérate, aquí hay un-
Thank you.
Vale. Bien.
Me encontré uno.
¿Te encontraron?
Encontré uno. Lo maté.
Ah. Ay, hay gente.
Un asco.
Esta granada.
¡Diablo!
No me dieron.
Me marcaron.
Ay, lo mataron a él.
Bueno.
Pero dice que la rivalidad. La Palma. Sin curro.
50.
No tengo dinero.
Está sin quillo.
Acuérdate que te había revivido ya.
Sí.
Quack. ¿Cuánto tengo? 350. 430. Ya.
Saca la huevo a la tormenta.
¿Por qué?
Explota.
Está viendo a tiempo. La pongo en 300. Existe eso. Voy a la piedra con la saltada.
Yo no llego con guantes por ahí, por la madre. Alguien con guantes. Tengo que estar aquí.
Lo veo y no lo creo.
¿Qué?
Una sniper.
Me pasó por la papón de ti.
No lo veo aquí.
Entró por las matas y no me vio. Yo pensé que los habían quitado.
Abajo en los campos. El hueso. Ah, sí, mátame. El carajo.
Está blanco.
Sí, yo le di 2 o 3.
Me está curando aquí. Tengo más balas.
¡Mírate! No, no te creo. No te creo, no muere.
No tengo más balas. Tengo que a ver si alcanzo a darle con el... Me tumbó.
Dios mío. ¿Tuviste todo el que y no se moría?
Ujú.
Todo en blanco. Reportado.
Y ahí te dio una ese y te quitó un montón.
Ujú. El primero que me dio. Dale. Va a jugar esta ya.
Dale.
Ay, gente.
Porquería, humo.
¿Qué?
Que había una cápsula como si fuera lo que te daba escudo. Pero ahora es un humo. Para que te
Sí. El tornado que yo te dije el otro día, ¿te acuerdas?
Sí.
Que yo te dije que es un tornado.
La mierda.
Esta página. Mira, aquí hay luz.
Está por aquí.
¿Qué?
Está por aquí. Son dos.
Mm.
Cayó uno.
Ay, ¿cómo se usan estas pistolas?
Parando.
No puedo apuntarle.
No, porque por la que apunta, él da reversa
Ok.
al pasado.
Back to the past. Ven acá, no lo
¡Ay,
escucharás.
alguien me está disparando! ¿Quién me dispara?
En la montaña.
¡Puñeta! Va detrás de ti el cabrón.
¿Que vino para acá?
Hey,
Así.
los dos.
Mamá huevo. Carro.
Voy, me reviví en la guagua.
Qué pobre.
Tengo la guagua, voy por ahí.
¿Aquí el carro?
Mira, guagua, arriba. Está tirando esta tormenta. Llego hasta la tía, no llego. Bájate, que no me dejan el carro. Era, bájate. Ahí eso no era.
Let me get you patched up.
Mira, esta es la skin, la de eso que te dan, mira la pistola. Me cayó uno. ¡Uppercut! Hay uno que se tiró. Saliendo. Y atrás. Uno atrás hoy, yo creo. Veo una. Mierda, hay otro acá. ¡No! Shit. Ah, diablo, estos estaban campeando acá arriba. Mierda.
We don't see Chino and Pablo. We don't see Sky and Scroll inside of that top 3 currently, so the rollover spot's not going to come into effect. If anything, these duos that aren't qualified should be hoping that those teams start to really overtake here, because that would definitely make the qual position for LAN substantially easier. But still, sometimes you just gotta take fate into your own hands, and that certainly seems to be the case for Darm and Deemish. They have just been steamrolling through the lobbies. I know Des touched on the fact that we haven't really been seeing those high elimination so far from most of the duos, but they are one that has been delivering, at least in the first 2 games.
Yeah, first place in the heats, first place now in the qualifier 3 finals, 120 points, but they did end 10th in the last match. But Combeck has gone down. SETI alone now, and the chase, the pursuit, it's on.
They don't want to allow the opportunity. If they can get the clean wipeout, that would be best case scenario here. But Focus Thomas, they are just continuing to run SETI down, and they're going to run him straight into the clutches of Strokey and Keto, who sniped that one away from them. And now Focus Thomas forced to retreat here. They've at least got those 2 eliminations to kickstart things in game 3, but they would have definitely liked to have added a 3rd to it.
Already started to see a bit more action early on in the match in this 3rd game. You kind of get to learn the tendencies of the duos in your surrounding areas when you're in these set finals lobbies. You see where the rotates normally go. The zones do change up, but you're able to kind of predict a bit more. It makes it a lot easier to confidently take some of these engagements.
Sangil, he's got to stay standing. Refscar has already been claimed by Sky. Scroll will make sure to play support though, since Sky does need an opportunity to try and rebuild his shields, but 2 versus 1, and unfortunately for Refscar, will he be able to touch down? Thankfully, he does manage to make it back onto solid ground. Not really a great angle there for Sky and Scroll to try and actually beam him out of the sky. But the damage may have already been done here, Takada. It's going to be a pretty big recovery tour for him.
That it will. Thomas HD and Focus, though. 2 elims on the board already. They've had a rough start to this tournament. Hoping to see a big game from them shortly.
Two other duos nearby, though. Thomas, Focus, you can tell they're definitely trying to get fraggy. They know that they need as many eliminations as they can possibly get, along with strong placements from here on out, if they really want to try and put themselves in contention for those EWC land spots. But it's going to be tough. I mean, whether or not they're aware of the fact that it's 2 separate duos, the fact of the matter is, the moment you start to key, it draws a lot of attention. And Kyoto for Strokey, they already know that Thomas and Focus have been chasing out duos early on, so could be part of the reason why they're also lingering.
They really just can't afford to miss endgames, too. They're at the bottom of the pack right now. 3 points. They need to make these endgames. Sky and Scroll, on the other hand, 4th place. They're 1 place off being that qualifying range, which would bump the top 3 to a top 4 needed if they're able to hold that position. But quick elimination onto Cringe is going to put them in a very healthy spot.
Twy still overhead, too. Probably in his best intentions, though, not to try and get involved right now. Sky and Scroll definitely in a much more advantageous position. But Twy, sadly, has to sit in horror as his duo tries to make it back down. Sky Scroll seem a little bit more fixated on the fact that, you know, Twy wasn't eliminated, so they could have gone for the freebies on Cringe. Instead, they'd rather run down the healthier member. I know he's the one with all the materials, he's the one with all the loot.
Cool.
Not the best loot, but he's at least got those overdrive grenades. He is running on fumes, though, and Sky will be able to close this one out. 3 eliminations already for Sky and Scroll. This is definitely starting to heat up, but Cami Hardy, other teams off in the distance, definitely within range, I think, for Sky and Scroll in these next couple of rotates. And yeah, sure enough, Pablo, Chino, next one's in their sights. 2 teams already qualified to land Takada, but still looking to see who can come out on top in this fight. Pablo loses all of his shield, barely managing to hang on here. Scroll just needs the last couple of tags to come through here, but enough distance has been created. Chino lurking, hoping that his duo doesn't go down just yet.
I'm not even playing, and I'm scared from the confidence that Sky and Scroll were showing there, pushing up with a cube rifle. The loadout, how healthy they were looking, but it seems they're going to calm down a little bit here. They saw, okay, we're going against some of the best players in the world, the most consistent duo in, this reload style format. So let's actually, let's chill a little bit. We're going to go back here. They farmed Cringe and Twy quite well, and now they're going to continue forwards.
Always want to be wary of not overheating in these types of formats. Even though you've got 8 lobbies to work with, realistically, most of these players are going to be looking for solid endgame finishes in at least 4 or 5 of those matches if they really want to put themselves not even just for the prize pool spots, but largely for the LAN qualification if they don't already have it. Sato and Podesai, though, another French duo, had a decent day, but they want to be more than just 6. They're looking to try and climb up a few more placements here.
Kamihari at 66. They're pretty well positioned on the leaderboard, especially considering it's only the 3rd match. With a cube rifle and the loadout that they have, I think they can definitely make something happen here as the game goes on. 18 duos still up. 5th zone, so a bit of time before those reloads do get disabled.
Don't want to find yourself sandwiched, though. Sometimes less attention the better. These mid-game moments, Pixie, Swizzy, still hanging out over by Chiseled Cubes. A little bit of leftovers. Really solid heals, though. Blueberry Fizz, Launchpad up. They'll start to make their way in. Should be able to avoid most of the zone congestion, too. But recognizing the fact that there's already teams kind of boxed up overhead, sure for repairs. Haven't seemed to notice Pixie and Swizzy just yet, so they'll nestle into a little metal box directly underneath and just wait to see where the next zone pulls.
I remember Reese was mentioning in the pre-show that if you combine the overdrive flowberry launch, you can basically get from one side of the map to the other. That's how small it is, so you really can't afford to take these storm plays and late rotates. You just have to be careful to not get beamed as you rotate back in, especially if they kind of cross over duos. But Nathan Nebs, strong start with height in the first game. Haven't seen them up there since then. We'll see if it changes back up this match.
One thing that a lot of teams always have to try and avoid is when you see duos losing a member in the earlier stages, you want to try and avoid the directions that they might be headed, because they're usually just going to be on Crash Out Nation, right? They're just trying to recuperate and make up for lost time. They're trying to rebuild on their loadouts. The best way to do that is by finding a refresh. So sometimes you just want to avoid that immediate kind of aggression, but darn Deemish scoping out everyone else. Got time to work with here. Akira and Karama, on the other hand, Thomas in their sights, and Thomas will be eliminated. This is a really rough spot for Thomas to go down, because it's going to be very difficult to try and make up for and focus. You can tell already it has been a very scuffed beginning for this duo. Even though they had success with those earlier 2 eliminations, Takada, I mean, this is not what you want to see for such a strong duo on EU.
Not only is it a physical battle, it's also a mental one. I mean, being in the bottom of the leaderboard, you can see they're feeling the pressure, and they have 3 eliminations. They know they need to get a lot of points consistently, but even if they get those eliminations, if they're not making these end games, it's just not going to be enough to put themselves in qualifying range. So they're going to need some big matches, and it's not going to be easy with how scuffed they are.
Especially not when you've got players like Reason, who are cube rifle connoisseurs, currently rocking that item in their loadout. Have to wait and see how exactly they plan to utilize it, but Sato, same sort of position. He's got the cube rifle, and Podesai can definitely put down a decent amount of suppressive fire too. That assault rifle, but first and foremost, get the zone. One step, trying to make sure they don't overstep.
Comfortable entry, but not fully in yet. Issue is when you're that low, there's going to be a lot of teams dropping down above you. Reason Noah trying to stay elevated. They want to have space to work with. If they have that cube rifle in hand, they don't want to be stuck in a bunch of builds. As Noah's already positioned himself perfectly for that. Thomas in focus now. This is a tough position to come back from. It was actually Akira Karama that did take them out earlier on, and they want a bit of vengeance.
Now or never. Focus just trying to see if he can apply a good amount of damage onto Akira and Karama, but the rest of the lobby, they saw where those shots were coming from. They immediately sent some Focus's direction, so Focus Thomas temporarily shut down on that endeavor, but still looking to see if they can get aggressive because they need a refresh, Takata. They don't have the luxury of picking and choosing. They just got to fight whoever steps up or sticks around for a little bit too long in these rotations. Focus might be able to bring down Twy, but no. Robbed at those last seconds. The rest of the lobby looking back now. They'll be able to take down Focus Thomas with only bandages. There is nowhere left for him to roll. And that's going to be another early game departure for Thomas and Focus. Sent back to the drawing board for game 4, but Cammy, Hottie, not looking to meet the same fate. Repairs, sadly, will be taken out. You can see the cube rifle shots already being administered, destroying builds, causing a little bit of chaos, a lot of disruption on these rotates. Teams trying to be very cautious how they actually navigate this.
I would not want to be on the receiving end as Cammy's wall gets closed, causing him to explode that cube rifle a little close. Sky Scroll doing a good job looking back, and we even saw above them, Beamish and Darm honestly positioned best in the lobby for the teams rotating through here, but they've been overtaken now in terms of elevation. Sky Scroll gonna do what they can to get ahead, but Sky is just one shot away from going down. He needs Scroll to build for him here.
Might have been a little bit of a bailout there too for Pablo and Chino, because Scroll got a decent chunk out of the HP bars, but knowing that he's got to play support for his duo takes priority here as Cammy, Hottie with the cube rifles in tow. They're gonna now try to pick up where Sky and Scroll sort of left off. Good pressure coming out of these cube rifles, and they're not even on ultimate height yet, Takata, but Sato, Podesai, very much trying to see what they can break through on this low ground tier. Working their way on the backside of zone. Kiro and for Stroke, can be some of the first up top. Greskar forced to just dive bomb all the way. Was trying to play out of that render distance, but can't avoid the teams that are paying good attention on height.
Yeah, Cammy and Harry are doing a great job kind of positioning themselves in an area where they have eyes for the cube rifle. Kiro for Strokey, the same up above now, trying to capitalize on their loadout.
Teams are just left scrambling. Darn Deemish benefiting from it so heavily too. They're going to be able to take out Chino no problem whatsoever. Cammy, Hottie, they've also got an elimination onto Nebs now. But this cube rifle is just so disorienting. Teams on these rotates just getting picked apart here. You can tell some of the panic that ensues when they just try to dive into whatever box they can for a safety net, but usually it's not going to be their own. Is Cammy, Hottie now recognizing the fact that they want to try and avoid some of that cube rifle presence from overhead? They might even be the ones to try and start building up for it, but Kiro for Strokey, they've been overthrown. Very low right now in the AP department as Sato and Podesai will manage to overtake on the high ground.
Continuing to try and get some builds, shots getting taken, but nothing big connecting yet. The aggression is there, but the cube rifle is breaking your teammates' builds. Podesai now regrouped up above. One player in the sky, it's Pablo. He's already lost his duo as they continue to talk about forwards.
I wanted to see a friend new land. Podesai, Sato, they're looking to try and set up here for the win, but Cammy, Hottie, what more could they possibly do from this position? Running incredibly low on materials. Kiro entirely out of builds. Just praying that the team on height doesn't notice his current position, but no, brought down by Hottie in the mid-ground. Just caught him so off guard there. The Sky Scroll lurking underneath, trying to see where they could try and third party. Darm has been brought down by Fidin and Kashi, but first off, Scroll and Sky still continuing their reign. Cammy and Hottie doing what they can to try and build up some refreshes, but 4 eliminations already, that's a decent amount of points.
Big match is what they needed to push themselves up into that top 3. Sky Jump Momsy, little bit of a hiccup, but they're back in zone now. 19 HP is all that's left for Sky Jump. He does have shield. The issue is he's only got one build. High ground team can see him as well, and they are gonna execute on that decision. Cube rifle comes down. Momsy left alone. Podesai Sato now playing aggressive.
Hey, Bodesai trying to see what else he can collect, wanting to get the materials refreshed, but that gets cut short. Still holding down the high ground, still has that cube rifle in tow, looking back to make sure that they don't get caught off guard by anybody else. Not sure if he caught a glimpse of Cammy just yet, but Sky, Scroll, they're going to be the ones absorbing all this focus from the cube rifle. It's just so difficult to try and maintain anything in this low ground tier as Cammy now trying to see whether or not he can actually hold on. Lost all of his build at just a moment's notice here. Trying to see if he can bring down Pablo in the thick of it, but no, Scroll, Sky, they're going to be the ones now try and take out Podesai, punish this duo that's been slamming the lobby all game long with that cube rifle. Sky, incredibly healthy, finds the first one. That's the opener onto Podesai, going right back up with that overdrive grenade. Only a singular player, and it's Pablo. The Danes trying to pull through here yet again, and Sky, Scroll in very familiar fashion with another victory royale. This time it's their first, though, in Reload.
This is why Sky and Scroll are one of the most hyped duos for the upcoming Major 1 Summit. They can play as a duo. The chemistry's there, but they can play just as well as solos when they need to get the job done. Big pickup for Sky and Scroll, launching themselves up that leaderboard. Desk, how are we feeling?
I think we're feeling really good after seeing our teams up the ante in game number 3. And Sky and Scroll Mini Minor, they were one of the duos who decided, yeah, you know what? We're happy to fight early on in the game.
Yeah, they were, and they were just so aggressive at the beginning of that game. Takata was talking about on commentary, he was scared for Sky and Scroll as well, for how dominant they were in those fights. They, I think, backed off at a good time as well. They didn't try and get over-aggressive, which of course made them get into that end game. And it's actually nice to see them play out that end game properly. We saw a little bit of it in game number 1, and then they had some really unfortunate zones. So to see them there in that end game showing what they can do best is really nice to see, Reese.
Yeah, I think this shows a lot about their fragging capabilities. Of course, you know, we saw them be really aggressive, as you said, in the early mid-game, but they were fragging in the end game as well. Every single time I felt like we looked at POV from one of these two, I just saw like 2 builds. One build, 0 build. You know, you just naturally think, oh, this is over for these guys, surely. At what, 30 seconds later, you come back to them, another Elim, another Elim, and then another Elim.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And then they go, of course, and win the game. And it's just so difficult to do that. It can't be understated how difficult it can be to turn around a game. And I don't think there's a better team right now than Sky and Scroll at doing that, because they have that cohesion, they have that togetherness that we've spoken about so much this season. To have the understanding of where your teammate is, they're the best team at that. And it just allows them to have this ability to find refreshes, to understand what they need to do in each given moment. It's so effective, especially in Reload.
Yeah, actually, when you think back to the qualifiers for this final as well, the fact that Scroll had 42 eliminations, Sky had the most amount of builds placed and was still in the top 5 with 25 eliminations in terms of the elimination numbers. This duo can do it any which way, and I can't wait to see if they continue to be aggressive after the break.
Teammates have his back.
3 games down, 5 more to go, and that last game was incredible entertainment. Let's bring up the leaderboard and see where we're at, because we've got to talk about Pablo Chino first of all. Resub, the fact that Pablo was a solo from the 9th zone and he managed to clutch second, absolutely ridiculous.
Unbelievable solo clutch. He 1v2'd Akiro and Podosai in the midst of that when he had almost no builds, no HP, hit nothing but max bangs, stayed in the storm, and got 65 points by himself throughout the entire moving zones. My Duo Destiny Jesus tells you this guy's a top 3 solo clutcher of all time. We keep memeing about it, but he might actually just be the truth.
The time will tell. Chapter 7 could be his to prove once and for all that he is that guy. Let's talk about Sato and Podosai, though. We never missed an opportunity to talk about French duos, and here we are. They've given us an excuse. They've been challenging consistently for the high ground mini mine, and they've been looking pretty good at it.
Yeah, this is a sort of high ground plays with the Q rifle that we were sort of expecting going into the day. I think we haven't really seen too much of that today. It's been a lot of sort of TAC ARs. There's been teams that haven't had the Q rifle up on height, but this has sort of been, I suppose, that more standard height take and hold that we were expecting from these guys. Nice performance from them as well. Of course, they need that qualification. They need to find themselves in the top 3 at the end of the day, Reese. So really nice to see these guys actually finding success on height. We actually have to talk about a Q rifle here, I think, because we didn't do it in the last in between games. So yeah, good for these guys, and of course using that Q rifle really well.
Definitely,
also,
go for it.
Go. No, please do. Please
okay.
talk about the cube rifle.
Quickly. No, I was gonna pass it and say that Sato is not carried by the cube rifle by any means. He has already come 4th in the first qualifier, right? So he missed out by 1 single point already. So him climbing back up the leaderboards here into the qualification slot is incredibly important.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so sorry to jump over you there. But you know what? I love an opportunity to talk about Cammy as well. What a legend. The fact that he has got it down to the wire in 2 endgames back to back now, and just outside that qualification zone. Breeze, if he can keep this up, he might be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, my worry with these guys is that they just don't really frag out that much in a game mode that heavily relies on fighting, every single match.
Yeah, and in this endgame, they got a few of these gifts. You can see a couple of bodies that were actually next to their draw or next to their box. They were able to just pick up on and get a lot of those materials, so that would have helped them out as well. They also, of course, had that cube rifle, which was super important. But nice to see these guys, of course, finding themselves in a good position on the leaderboard. And of course, we want to see Cammy on the LAN. He's a LAN goat. He's a LAN beast. So he's the sort of player we want to be seeing there as well.
Now, cube rifle wise, we are slightly trending upwards, Reese, right? We had 2 in game 1, 3 in game 2, 4 in game 3, and then
Correct.
maybe we'll have 5 in game. Did I do the maths right?
It does seem like a linear increase. Every game I've been keeping track, it's going up 1 a match. So 5 next game, yes.
Okay, Reese, if you can continue the graph, we're going to head into game number 4 with Taco and Takata.
Surely it'll go down eventually, right? Right?
Surely.
I mean, surely, right? Anyways, look, Sky Scroll, now with that win, have put themselves into top 3, so it is top 4 that will qualify you, and I believe Chino Pablo are right outside that in 5th, so if they're able to squeeze in to that top 4, then it could even be a top 5 to qualify for these other players. A lot of big names still out of that qualifying range, though, Taco.
Yeah, but what I'm really trying to keep an eye out for is Kashi and Fiat, and I think that these guys have really taken these first 3 lobbies by storm already. I mean, we'll get more into it because Game 4 is already ready to go.
Good news is we don't have to wait long to see how that fight unfolds. If it's based on how the previous matches have went, it's Clapsy and Killed who have been contesting them up at that northwest side of the map. And it looks like, based on the mini-map, it's happening once again.
Yeah, but the real issue starts to build up now, where you've got a team that is very clearly leading in first place, and they might have just gone down in the elimination feed. They've been getting contested so consistently. But Takata, when you were sitting in that first place position, 162 points, granted, Sky and Scroll are the ones that were trailing just behind at 160, I believe. But the damage that's been done is just knowing that they could potentially be pushed down. Still, they have done an excellent job leading into this, but Killed, Collapsy, this is the one time that you don't want to see that duo succeed, but they've done it.
They've done it. I mean, Kashi Furin are the most consistent team today. Average placement of 4. And, I mean, they got 5th, 4th, 3rd. They've just gone down off spawn. to the team contesting them that's at the bottom of the leaderboard. It's from top to bottom battle, and it did not go Kashi and Freeren's way this time. So, I mean, hopefully, I'm hoping Clapsy and Keeled can kind of make use of that.
But what I was really trying to get at, though, right before this match had even started, Takada, is yes, they've done an excellent job. I think they've really been a team that went a little bit more under the radar. They had solid performance in their heats, but one or two more lobbies of being eliminated off spawn, that is very realistically, or makes it a lot more realistic for other teams to then leapfrog you on that leaderboard position. Even with Sky Scroll, Pablo Chino, like, just assume that they're going to be in the top 3. Just assume that you have those rollover positions. It is still very much feasible for these other teams to play catch up, especially when you are not netting any points off spawn.
A lot of games to go. After this, we'll be halfway through, but the games have been picking up the pace a little bit. It was very slow to kick things off. Basically, every duo was up once we got to those final moving zones. And then after the last match, there's just been more aggression. Beamish Storm, one of the duos that have been incredibly confident with how they've been playing.
And part of that is definitely credited towards the fact that, you know, teams just become a lot more familiarized after those first couple of lobbies, what to anticipate, who's going to be rotating nearby. But things start to get much more unpredictable later on. As Thomas Focus, their only options are to try and find high elimination games with solid endgame performances. And we have just yet to see them actually net themselves any real placement points, because they keep going out right before it takes over. So everything has just been built off of their elims so far today, and they've had a really rough go of things. And that's why we see them trying now take out some leftovers by Sengil and Grefsgard. Supply drop going to be intercepted here as Thomas, he just wants the elimination onto Sengil. He knows just how incredibly hurt this player is, and they'll find the first one, but Grefsgard not looking to go down without a fight. Should be forced to retreat here. Doesn't want to be another duo eliminated so quickly before placement takes over.
Focus Thomas, I mean, they've been consistently getting eliminations in the early games. They've been getting to the late games with 2-3 eliminations, but they've just, at that point, maybe had a hiccup. They've ran low on mats. Their loadout has been reset, and they're just not kitted enough to actually play out a solid end game. So even if they're able to play aggressive, they need to do much more to just get those early game eliminations.
All right, now Sengil's going through it. Other duos starting to take him out of the sky. Fincheck finds his elimination onto Seti. That's going to be the first for him in Cantry. And now, a little bit more isolated, away from the rest of the map. But this is also definitely the part where you start to expect teams to kind of dabble more into that one person breaks off from your duo typical drop, and they try to see if they can pick up a quick elimination off spawn. Worst case scenario, they go back to where your partner is at.
Yeah, and you can see that it's a common trend. I mean, it's gone from 5 to 10 to 15 respawns in these matches, so there's definitely more action happening as we get through the games here. And Focus Thomas, they're showing exactly that.
Sadly, I think Sengil's already on his 4th reboot. Focus looking to try and make Sky enter his first year success. Focus is not playing around. You can tell just how aggressive Focus and Thomas are actually approaching this 4th lobby. Takada, they recognize the fact this is the halfway point, sure, but they're going to need some big games to make up for all that lost time.
That they are. They're getting it. 3 on the board. Aggression continuing through, but there is a team launching meteors at them with the cube rifle from the opposite side of the ridge, so they do have to be careful. But Seti has just been rebooted back in. Not a lot to work with as he does go down here. That's 4th elimination for Focus. He is locked in.
Poor Fincheck. I think he might be next. Focus is just playing like an absolute demon right now in these lobbies. He's been having to deal with evil Fortnite today, and now he's gonna try and be the real villain of this lobby, just looking to find whatever eliminations he can. Fincheck scrambling away praying that other duos start trying to throw some shots this direction to try and alleviate some of that pressure. Slapperoni Pizza will help Country at least replenish some of his shields, but the loadout is still going to be very underwhelming compared to where you would want it to sit at, leaving into these mid-game awkward positions, awkward rotations.
Kemihari taking the much safer route. Want to give it as many hard mats as possible, that middle, that brick, and be fully set up for the late game. They're not interested in playing aggressive. They're in 6th place, potentially 1 placement off being in qualifying range. That's all they want to do is have a healthy loadout, good amount of mats, and be ready to play out this end game.
Just feels so odd now, seeing a team that's not dealing with the constant action after what we just witnessed from Focus and Thomas, and getting right back to it, though. Country and Finchek just could not escape. Even with that Slapperoni Pizza, their shields are still practically gone. 2 duos already eliminated. Focus and Thomas trying to make it a third if they're able to find Finchek here, and Finchek doing what he can to try and escape. He knows he needs to just stay alive long enough for Country to reboot, but Focus and Thomas just hot on his heels. They refuse to budge every single elimination, trying to make up the difference.
Focus is so dialed in right now. Taking a bit too much time though, so it looks like the knock will come through, not the full elimination. Country has got rebooted back in, but honestly, I think that's almost kind of what he wants with the amount of aggression we're seeing here. He said, give me more eliminations. I'm ready to keep farming.
It's crazy to think, though, that the way that Focus and Thomas have just been steamrolling through duos in this early game, it didn't look like they were trying to play to allow for Finchek or Country to reboot. It looked like they just wanted the clean finish, take that duo out entirely. But fact of the matter is, they've already got 18 points in this lobby alone, just off the elimination spree that they've embarked on. All they really need now, Takata, is just to get some solid placement in the end game.
They gotta win a match. They gotta win a match or be incredibly consistent in all the next matches. But it's looking good so far. They're kicking it off strong. We'll see if they can keep that momentum going. Darmdemish taking the slower route. They're where they want to be, and no need to take any unnecessary risks.
Bears ensure for another one of those duos, though, that's trying to hunt for a little bit more placement, a little bit more positioning in the leaderboard. They're still within striking range, so they know. Gotta just play a little bit more passive. Want to make sure that you really avoid the brunt of some of these teams that are getting very, very fraggy, very, very active, and you can already see off in the distance Thomas Focus, as they start to make their approach. Some of these teams on the outskirts, they might become victims, but Chino, Pablo, a little bit more of a scenic route for these two.
Shout out to Pablo, by the way. I mean, Chino got eliminated with 15 teams alive in the last match, and Pablo still ended 2nd place. From 15 teams to getting to 2nd as a solo is incredibly impressive. So we'll see with both players up if they can make something happen now.
Crazier part to consider from that last lobby was just his 1v2 presence in that endgame to put himself into that 2nd place position. Pablo and Chino as a duo, we already know that they have a lot of strength behind them, but the fact when you can deliver on an individual side of things too, that's always a scary sight. But Podesai and Sato might be a bit of a different approach here. Not seeing that cube rifle in their loadouts just yet, but things could always change as the match continues to develop. Sure enough, Sato, Podesai, if they want to play for the high ground, they'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. Be a little bit more difficult to try and lock down teams, but surprising to see Country and Finchek still kicking despite everything in that early game. But it's hard to expect a solid in-game performance here, Takata, when you have just been sent through the reboot gulag, essentially.
Focus sniffed him out again, too. Took the shots in Country as he was gliding in. I mean, they had to play Storm as long as possible. They had to try and recuperate as much loot, mats, heals as they possibly could. So Who knows how much they've actually recovered. Good news is at least they're in zone.
Sky Jump a little bit split off here. You can already tell the lobby definitely sending shots his direction. Shield's getting chunked along the way. For Cringe and Twy, next zone pool is going to be the determining factor here. Teams start to make their way forward. Don't want to get caught behind the rest of the pack here. That 1 second too late could be the difference maker because Focus Thomas, they're behind everybody else for the time being, but they're looking right at Noah Riley and Reason. Not going to get over aggressive just yet, but hey, you keep sending shots out every direction. Eventually, the rest of the lobby might start to look your way, and it seems like that's an invitation that Thomas and Focus have openly extended.
Prepares shirt. 90 on the board currently. Getting closer and closer to that qualifying range. They cannot afford to go down here. The Storm and Divish now are going to get ahead, elevating themselves into a great position. Currently the most elevated in the lobby as they connect to the helipad, and now can have an opportunity to look back and try and get a bit of damage.
Still aware of the fact, though, that they might not have total height control just yet. No team's really looking to take a stab at it. We're going to wait probably until 8th zone clearance, but if anybody goes down now, that's going to mean an individual playstyle from here on out, Takata. Reboots have been disabled in this 7th zone. Sky, Scroll, a little bit low on their material count, but they could change that at a moment's notice. They've got 1 elimination. Doubt that they would hate to see another, but they have technically overtaken Kashi and Firen now by just a singular point, but that might be best case scenario for a team like Kashi and Firen, knowing that it's an EWC land qual team ahead of you.
That's true, that's true. And they're set up to have a pretty good game here again, alongside the other EWC qual team, which is Pablo Chino. As the zone starts moving, now they're just gonna kind of wait it out and do more of a slow rotate when the zone gets closer to them. Swizzy Pixie, on the other hand, are quite stuck in the snow down below, but for Sky and Scroll, incredible rotate the front side here.
Really done a perfect job of positioning themselves in that mid-ground section too, so they'll be able to look down. Akira punished, tried to go towards that frontside low, and Akira Karama have been taken out of this lobby. Sky and Scroll now looking towards Focus, but Focus, he's been seeing red all game long here, Takata. But right now, he wants that eagle-eye view up above everybody else in this lobby now.
There's so many.
Getting a good read on the duos that are trying to fly overhead. Gantry, you can see some of the loot dropping with it. Teams that are getting kind of taken out for making those attempts towards the high ground, and Sato from a distance gonna beat Gantry. This is a very difficult spot now to be in, though. Lobby starting to look inwards, but Sato and Pokeside, I think, just close their walls, no problem whatsoever.
Reason gets knocked down. Look, if I'm a player that's in the sky gliding, the last duo I would want on height is Thomas HD and Focus. We know how confident these players are, especially with their AR aim. As Reason got the best or worst of it, Swizzy Pixie now, one of the other duos gliding above, continuing to not only keep an eye up top, but also apply that pressure to the teams below. They don't want anyone trying to overtake them.
Hey, they can't see all of us, right? That might be the mentality, but Pablo Chino, unfortunately not going to be able to go as high up as they were hoping for initially there. Still, that might actually be a bit of a saving grace because Focus and Thomas, they have been on point so far. Taking out team shields, making them drop to that ultimate low ground. It's just so disrupting because these teams are just being forced to kind of glide into each other on these lower layers. The congestion is starting to build so rapidly.
Good news for Repair Shores as they are up ahead. Bad news as they're low on HP and running even lower on mats. As Darm, Demish, looks like Cammy is knocked right by them. Not sure if they were the ones that picked it up, but they are going to do what they can to keep on going. They have more than enough materials to play with. They don't have to take any risks just yet as they're continuing to play frontside.
And Darm can even afford to tank up some of those ticks of Storm with those slip juices, but Sato, Odesai, a little bit more fixated on dealing with Darm and Demish in the first place. Shot, but Repairs underneath, eliminated. That's another clean wipeout. Swizzy, Pixie, pick up those last couple of pizza slices. Swizzy scoping out the layer just above them. They want to go upwards, but I don't know if their trajectory is going to be all that clean cut.
Oh, look, not a single elimination yet this match, but they're still looking healthy. I might have spoken too soon, though. It's Sky Scroll knocking on your door. You have to be careful, as Pablo's been fully cracked now. Dropped to just 43 HP, forced to do what he can to get out of this chaotic situation. But Focus and Thomas, they kicked off this match with only 12 points. Now, continuing to hold hype, but they have to be careful.
Saw the only thing that you needed to see. It's that cube rifle presence, but who's got it? Who's going to be the team actually trying to force Thomas and Focus down? Sky Scroll already on ultimate low. Pixie Swizzy, they were definitely hurt, but they might be able to actually maintain hype. No, instead... Well, actually, no, it is Swizzy. Swizzy's the one with the cube rifle. He's the one that's causing so much disruption here. As now Thomas and Focus are left to try and scramble a bit, but look at Swizzy. He's just so incredibly injured, very low on the material count. They've got to get down, but they know they've got Thomas overhead. He's looking to see if he can get a clean up crew action on the high ground, but Pablo and Chino, they're just finding the eliminations underneath.
Pablo not going to be able to do it this time around. Chino now is going to have to take over from Pablo solo clutching it in the last game. Will Chino be able to live up to the expectations? No, he goes down as well. Sky Scroll now doing what they can to heal, but this is exactly what Thomas HD and Focus needed. From 12 points to already 84, and they're not even finished yet. This win could mean everything for them.
They've still got their work cut out for them, even with Scroll trying to play for placements off of them. Medkit is going to have to get involved in this action soon enough, but Darm Demish looking relatively healthy on that low ground. Focus, though, with the siphon coming in at the last second onto Sky. Focus now waiting to see if he can take out Darm, but Darm, just from overhead, finds the first opening shots. Thomas HD no longer the action, and Darm Demish, for the second time today, Dakota, they've got another victory royale.
It was looking so bright, but look, it's still good either way for Thomas and Focus. Congrats as well to Demish and Darm. Another big match from this duo, propelling themselves up that leaderboard. We said we wanted more eliminations. Frankie was asking for it. Well, Frankie, you have got it now. That match was insane. I don't even know how many total eliminations there was from those final teams, but what a way to close it out, Taco.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all Focus and Thomas were really looking for was as many elimination points that they could possibly build up here at Takata. We have not seen a duo really lead the charge in today's competition quite the same way that Focus and Thomas have. It was just so aggressive, so demanding. They just refuse to let anybody escape their visuals at the very beginning. But obviously, Takata, we're not the only ones that witnessed some of that massacre that took place. So, Frankie, Minnie, Reese, what do y'all say?
I'm taking credit for all the eliminations that we got there. It was absolutely all me. Without stepping into the lobby, I manifested more eliminations. And guys, you're welcome. And Demas and Darm putting up yet another successful fight. I just like the cut of these guys' jibs. I have to say, Mini Miner, the fact that they're in a reload lobby makes it 10 times better, 10 times more exciting. And they were able to do things from the low ground in style there.
Yeah, they're playing that low ground really, really well. They're sort of clashing with Sky and Scroll at times as well. It's really, really, really great to watch, actually, that sort of fight going down on low ground. And it does seem like Demish and Darm just have it all figured out right now. They're sort of playing those mid-ground layers a little bit earlier on, and then when things get a little bit difficult with the cube rifles later on, they're then dropping on down in front of Sky and Scroll. And in that particular game, it worked out really well. And then, of course, towards the end of the game, when they need to go for that height and then, of course, go for the win, they do what they did in game number 1, Reese, and find success.
Yeah, I think what we're really seeing here is a game plan in action, because that first game is almost exactly what we just watched here. A 9 elimination win, and now we've just seen another 9 elimination win. Both ended in the exact same way. The final 2v2, they used the overdrive grenades to fly up onto height and use the cube rifle to win it out. So it's like, you know, these guys' playstyle is clearly practiced. They clearly know exactly what they're doing. They have such a well-planned game plan. So yeah, I'm not really surprised that they're doing so good.
And what's great is they don't even need the cube rifle earlier on in the game. They just find so many of those eliminations from the mid to low ground that they just end up getting one at some point as well. So it just seems like this way they're playing is so great. And I suppose we spoke about the cube rifle a lot in regards to in the respect of like playing height and looking down at everyone else. But when you can use it just to take height so easily like they can, it's so effective for them.
Well, it's been a great lobby for Demas and Dom so far, but let's talk about who else is thriving after the break.
Teammate time is back. Where's Nash? Gets the drop on Marius. Stays alive. They're targeting up Vanya. 3v1.
Welcome back to the Reload Elite Series. We're 4 games in. We're at the halfway point tonight, and Demas and Dom have already picked up 2 victory royales. So let's see if they can pick up even more as we head into our final games. Let's look at the leaderboard if we can, though, because it's really interesting to see that Focus and Thomas have managed to make it further up the leaderboard, but you can't see them on page number 1. If we go to page number 2, we can see that they have gone from 19th place up to 11th. That's how I have to say it. That's how poorly they were performing before they finally managed to get second place race in game 4.
Oh, I wondered what words you were going to use there. You know,
I'm trying to be positive about it. Okay?
They were not. Yeah, they were not. They were not. But the thing is, here you go. Right, first 3 games. They stunk it up, right? They're barely on any point, so they sit here and go, you know what? We need to make a change. We need to do something. They've upped the aggression big time. Coming into the moving zones, or coming into the partials, even like 5th and 6th zone here, they have 6 eliminations before that. They highly aggressively push for height in the 8th zone, super earlier than any team we've seen success from here. And then in that end game, they're jumping down. They're going for elims. They're getting on walls because they know if they want to come top 5, or they end up actually qualifying through, then they need to actually have these massive games and continue this for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and the thing they did really well that some of the teams that played height earlier on didn't do so well is they actually reclaimed height super well as well. We saw Swizzy and Pixie trying to take it off of them with their cube rifle. They then had to sort of drop down, had to play a little bit solo for a second, and then they were able to recover and reclaim that high ground. So important for them. Hopefully they can continue that aggression because, of course, you know, we saw a team like No Rally and Reason pick up a win and then sort of fall off a little bit in the games following. So hopefully now this is a sort of sign of things to come rather than just a one-off for this team.
If you take a look at the bottom of the standings there, that 20th place team, that's Ping and Wox, guys. So even though we have these big experienced names in the lobby tonight, some of them are not able to keep up the pace. And Clapsy and Cowd, we probably shouldn't be surprised that they're in 19th because this is their first ever, I guess, I can't say FNCS lobby because this is Res. It's their first Res lobby. They haven't made an FNCS Grand Finals tonight, but the fact that they made it into the top 20 for Heat 3 is impressive in itself. But let's see if they can pull off an attention-grabbing performance as we head into game number 5 with Taco and Takata.
One thing's for sure, we're already starting to see some of the repercussions of being eliminated so early on in the way that it shifts the leaderboard overall, because right now, looking at Cash and Fearin, they were just sitting in that first place position or challenging Sky and Scroll for it, Takata, and now, because they were eliminated so early on, they've been pushed down to 4th, and while that's still technically within the qualification range for LAN, it's just become a lot more threatening because other teams are definitely playing catch-ups. Let's see what happens here in Game 5.
They just can't let it happen again. They've got, I mean, the halfway point now, gone through 4 more matches left to play out. They just cannot afford to keep going down off spawn. So we'll see if Clapsy and Keeled will get the back-to-back here, or if Fearin and Kashi will be able to continue fighting for that qualification spot. But it looks like they might even be disengaging here a little. Yeah.
No, they're hiding, they're lurking, they're waiting. Killed. Has been spotted though. Kind of gave away his position though, to be fair, but Kashi and Fiora, they're definitely being a lot more cautious with how they proceed because they know you can win every single off spawn here, Takata, but when you start losing the ones that matter, the ones where the games are starting to shift a little bit more towards those big jump gaps in the points, that's where it becomes much more dicey with maintaining your position for those land qual spots. Reason to O'Reilly very much in a similar position. They've definitely been contending a fair bit with Skydip and Mumsy. Escaping for right now, but Fiora not going to be able to close out, and Fiora and Kashi one more time brought down by Clapsy and Kjeld. And they'll have to sit in horror and wait to see what the damage is actually like with the conclusion of Game 5. But if I had to make any kind of a guess here, Takata, I would definitely wager they might find themselves being overtaken. I mean, Podesai Sato, Hottie Cammy, Swizzy Pixie, Nebs Nathan. Like, I could keep going. The list just keeps going because there are so many veteran teams here with experienced individuals combined as duos. And Clapsy Kill, they might not even get the benefit from winning the off spawn because Reason and Noah Riley immediately looking to try and apply additional pressure. Reason 1 HP does find that first knock, but it's going to be Pablo and Chino to take them down. They're not going to allow any sort of intervention here. Chino and Pablo, they're going to actually be the ones to benefit heavily.
Yeah, this is quite devastating for Kashi Fearin. We'll see if they're able to play catch up after you've seen what's possible with one big match. I mean, Thomas HD Focus from the last match went from the bottom end of the leaderboard, I think in like 19th, all the way to almost top 10. One more game like that, and Thomas and Focus can be close to that qualifying range with 4 more opportunities. We're still have a lot to go. Darm Demish, nothing too crazy yet. They've been quite passive here in the early games.
The one benefit, though, is that Reason and Noah, they were able to actually stagger the way. They got Elin there, holding on. Skyjump very much trying to hold on to his life in this lobby right now. Is Noah Riley going to be the one getting a little bit more aggressive here. Again, all these teams that are experiencing those early eliminations, those early reboots, they've got to make up for it somewhere, and sometimes finding eliminations can help you get back on track.
Sky Jump Gonna recuperate his HP as Momsy is gonna be put into panic with no reason pushing them now. Issue is, Reason gets knocked down. Good news, Noah's here to save the day. As he's gonna pick him up, and he should have enough time, as there is a player getting close, but with a 2v1, shouldn't be much of an issue here.
I'm just still in such disbelief, though, that Clapsy and Kill, they win the off spawn for the second time today, and Chino Pablo waste absolutely zero time. And the fact that they weren't the only ones, there is very obviously sharks in the water here in today's competition, Takata. All they need to see is just one player's name pop up in the elimination feed, and if it's anyone that's even remotely close to where they might be at, you can expect the immediate collapse from the rest of the lobby here. Sato and Podesai, though, haven't had a chance to get as active as some of these other teams, but pretty solid loadouts to start things off.
Yeah, splitting up some of the heal shields. As we head over to a much more popular spot of the map, it seems. Kamihari, they have not been playing aggressive. They've been playing avoidant a lot of the start of these matches. They do not want to put themselves in positions where they can go down before those placement points come through. Pixie Swizzy, though, already having a cube rifle this early on. It's going to give them that upper hand.
It's one thing to have the cube rifle, though. It's another to actually be able to put yourself into a position to really utilize it. They made the attempt in the last game. Unfortunately, they just weren't healthy enough in the HP department to actually withstand that high retake from Thomas and Focus. So they're looking to try and switch up the script for this game. 104 points. Not the worst day, but not their best either. Obviously, they're looking for more.
Neps and Nathan had a really strong start to the day, but since then they've not been able to break a top 10 in any match. Got a bit of eliminations in the last one, currently sitting at 8th place on the leaderboard. They're gonna have to find a way to kind of get back into it here, get a nice endgame finish, so hopefully they'll find out what's holding them back.
I do think it's interesting, though, checking in on all three of our teams that are essentially tied for that 7th place position. Seti and Comet going to be the final piece of that pie because 104 points. That's been the theme so far for Swizzy Pixie, Nebs Nathan, and now Combeck and Seti. So who's going to be the first to try and separate themselves from the rest? Because one fact remains between all three of those teams, Takata. Every single one of them is going to need a lot more points, whether it's via eliminations, and obviously looking for those endgame placements. But as it currently stands, they are not in position for that land qual.
Yeah, current cutoff is 161 points. First and second leading by a hefty margin. Darm Demish with 237, Sky Scroll at 223. Good news for the teams is, you know, Sky Scroll, Pablo Chino, our two already qualled duos are in that top 3, so the cutoff is significantly lower due to that, but, you know, things can change. We're only halfway through.
Always like to give Sven his flowers when it comes to that duo of Darm and Demish. He's been coaching them for a while now, and they've definitely made a lot of advancements here in this third Retail Elite Series Finals. So far, haven't placed outside of the top 10 in any of the lobbies here today. Hopefully that doesn't jinx them for later on, but focusing back in onto where Chino and Pablo are at. They're going to send themselves way up overhead. Should be a relatively smooth rotate in towards zone, but it's obvious that they're also trying to make more of a dead side approach here.
Demish and Darm, we're our first duo to kind of have that big elite elim match of the day. And now after the last one, there's been a lot more action coming through, as it looks like a wall replace could get dangerous here. Sky and Scroll on the other end, they were thinking about it, but a quick runaway. Duos in the surrounding areas, this might not be the time you want to take this fight.
Been unlucky there for Sky. He was trying to get that right side peak angle, but just didn't net anything for him. Happens to the best, though. Even Sky and Scroll can have the occasional miss out for opening engagement, but Deemish Darm, certainly a team that is not foreign to fighting. They are more than happy to try and duke things out here, but seem a little bit preoccupied with staring down here on Frostroki. Could potentially get caught here. Two relatively strong teams looking your direction. I mean, not exactly the spot I'd want to be.
No, not at all. What does I say, though? In zone, all they got to do is hold on a few seconds here, though, and they should be fine. It is going to be Pablo and Chino kind of up above on this hill.
Cool, calm, and collected. Kira and Karama a little bit further out. His team start funneling in. Pablo and Chino are going to begin to make their way forward, but they know there's a team with a moderate surge base above them. Take a moment to pause here, but they want to remain in an elevated position on this cliff face. Still, Thomas Focus making the approach from a little bit further back. That could be trouble brewing for both of those other duos, because Thomas Focus, even despite winning that last lobby, Takata, they still need plenty more points. And, you know, sometimes you've just got to rip the Band-Aid off. You know that you've had a rough day, but hey, just send it, because that seems to have been a winning formula for Focus and Thomas, especially after that last game.
No, I think that's exactly what they needed. I mean, you know, the mental game, it's there despite these veterans, you know, being incredibly used to pressure in tournaments like these. When you have such a rough start, it's going to get to you. But a big match like that for a duo like Thomas and Focus, it's what they need to reignite that fire within them. So I'm hoping to see them continue with the momentum from last game and get another big one here.
Couple of tags, though, from other players in the lobby. Slapperoni Pizza will be dropped. Probably easier to just carry those pizza slices anyway for Focus and Thomas, but not exactly in a line of sight for the lobby focus to take place just yet. Sky Scroll, on the other hand, the team kind of hovering more towards that exterior side of the zone, and as they look in, waiting for the tick over. Momsy Sky Jump, though, success, taking out Twy. Whether or not Twy made it in, questionable, but just barely managing to reboot. But that'll be his last chance to do so, because reboots are fully disabled here. 7 zone taken over, and Cringe, sadly enough. Momsy Sky Jump, they know just how hurt he is, and he won't get the chance to escape. Momsy's gonna find final elimination there. Sky Jump navigating his way over, and Twy about to meet a similar fate here. Cube rifle shots from the distance. Rest of the lobby in front of him. There's just nowhere left to run.
Yeah, really not what you want to happen. Especially considering there's still 17 teams up. Sky and Scroll 223 just continuing. Kind of extend that gap from third place, but you know, a lot of big things can happen here now. Chino, Pablo are the team right below them in third. Trying to get ahead of the zone here, full low.
Sky and Scroll want that 30 band, so let's be so for real right now. And with the way that they've been putting on a display here today, Takata, every lobby just brings them one step closer. If they can stick true to finding consistency and just making it to those end games, that'll be the difference maker between maintaining that first place position on the leaderboard, finding themselves dipping a little bit lower here as Mumsy Sky Jump looking in. Clapseek yelled. Success with the off spawn, but everything after the fact has been a little bit rocky here since Pablo's earlier intervening.
Sony's gonna pull east. Good news is players below the bridge should still have a pretty linear route, as now it's a waiting game for this zone to begin to move. Some players might allude to kind of the launch pad free rotate. Others are going to use this drastic change in elevation, the ravine they kind of have, to block themselves from the surrounding area. Skyjump Momsy, though, are going to kick things off. Go ahead.
Seems like they're taking a page out of Focus and Thomas's book from the last game. 7 eliminations already for Mumsy and Skyjump. Meanwhile, Pixie, Swizzy still yet to find their first, but they're more interested in just making it towards that end game, making it into the big placement rewards. Now, Focus Thomas off the launch pad. All they really want to overtake, though, is a position on height.
They want it. They want it. They know what happened in the last game when they played extra aggressive for that height early on. They held it for the whole match, basically. And once again, they're looking for a repeat.
Looked like Thomas was about to get the better end of Kotri and Finchek yet again. It's almost starting to feel personal just because of the way those two keep clashing. But no, Thomas, Focus, they're just doing everything in their power to try and muster up as many points as they can find. But now, Focus, Thomas extending overhead tarp, Seti nearly getting brought down along the way of his rotate. Pixie, Swizzy also from that secondary height position, putting down some good pressure. Cube Rifle introduces a lot of doom and despair for the teams that aren't able to actually utilize it and instead are on the receiving end of it. But Focus, Thomas just trying to do as best a job as they can, preventing other teams from challenging them. But do they realize that Pablo is so far overhead?
Didn't have a lot of HP, though. It'd be a risky play from Pablo to do anything from that. Momsy gonna be able to recuperate that shield he lost. Sky Scroll, though, not in the position they want to be in. Incredibly low on HP and shield. They're gonna have to take some time to recuperate it, but time is not necessarily on their hand as the rotate is gonna have to come through here. But Focus, what has went wrong? They were looking like they were controlling height so well, and you called it, Taco. It's gonna be Pablo and Chino.
That's the moment they're waiting for. Look, they might not have a whole lot of healing assets, but it might not matter because Thomas and Focus, one way or the other, they're going to force their way back towards the high ground. And Pablo Chino just a little bit too injured. They'll actually opt to drop even further still. Seti, Comeback, just trying to pick up the scraps now in some of these lower layers. They know that they need the points. They've already got 2 eliminations there onto Comeback, but Pablo, he's not done just yet, but Focus will make him be finished as Thomas and Focus continue to work their way back up towards the high ground, but the material count, it's so incredibly low. Focus is going to fall, and now it's 2 separate teams because Reason and Noah Riley, they were trying to take the stab at height. Thomas trying to shut that dream down, but Noah Riley still thinking he wants to play for the revive, but it's going to be a bailout by Nathan instead. Thomas playing it greedy, but it works out.
Does it, though, as now no HP to work with. Focus has fallen once again. Did not last more than 2 seconds, but a big shot comes through from Thomas, unable to get the knock. He has no builds, he has no heals, just 17 HP to work with. A big bailout is what he needs. He gets the knock, and he almost secures the other, but Contri is gonna come out on top.
But ultimately, it's Nebs and Nathan who profited so heavily from all that aggression taking place on the high ground. Mumsy trying to see if he could make his way upwards, and Nathan will fall. Nobody's able to actually hold on to height for longer than a couple of seconds, it seems, because Mumsy, Skyjump, they've now overthrown Nebs and Nathan. It's going to be up to Nebs to try and clutch out some solo placement points here, and he finds 1 elimination, but gets shut down along the way. Reskar Sangil now playing ultimate low here, front side of zone control. But how much can you avoid from Mumsy and Skyjump with this Cube Rifle?
Looks like they want to set a record for the most eliminations today. Already hitting double digits. Mumsy with 8, Skyjump with 2. This is a massive match for this team. 5 teams up, 8 players left. The issue is the material count. It's running low, just 3 builds left for Mumsy. A lot of healthy duos down below. They're gonna have to apply that pressure.
Good news, though, for this duo is that the Cube Rifle, if there's one thing it can definitely accomplish, it's applying solid pressure. Skyjump and Mumsy still making sure to play hip-to-hip. Hottie Candy, same intentions. Overdrive grenades to give him a little bit of mobility here. Flowberry Fist 2 for some shield. Skyjump finds Sandguild. Can he make it towards the body, though? He needs that little bit of siphon materials. Mumsy will manage to find a refresh himself, 2 onto Poda's side, but now looking back up, it's all up to Hottie to see whether or not he can keep this match going for him and Cammy. Has the medkit to try and place out some additional points here, but Mumsy just been getting so fraggy with it. He needs to look back. He needs to find Hottie, but can Hottie actually withstand? And sure enough, Mumsy's not going to be able to find him in time, so Cammy and Hottie find their first victory royale on the day.
It paid off to play safe earlier on. They've been constantly just looking for these end games. They've been making it there, and now finally they've gotten the big match they were looking for. Shout out as well to Skyjump Momsy. I think that might be the most eliminations we've seen today. They weren't able to close it out, but with the amount of placement points, with the amount of eliminations both Hari Cammy got and Skyjump Momsy, it's more than enough. Desk, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, Hari and Cammy finding so much consistency in the lobby tonight, and it's paid off with a victory royale, Mini Miner.